What's up, everybody? I'm Frankie Biggz. Thank you for stopping by to my channel. And if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and put that notification bell on so you know the next time we do one of these videos. And speaking of which, today is a special video because we are doing something that I don't know if any other reactors have done. I'm sure that they have. There's got to be people that do this, but well, in fact, I know that there is, just not in this genre. I wanted to interview another fellow reactor, a fellow that's been in this game for a moment, and not to mention the fact that, like me, he is an American who is living overseas, which I think is number one, very cool. But number two, he's also a person of color like myself, and Americans of color over here are very well, especially it being online, not too many of us. So it's always good to be able to talk to somebody that kind of understands you because day to day, it's kind of difficult. Excuse me, it's difficult for me being in Spain. And although my Spanish is sight, right, it's still hard to resonate with people because they sometimes they just don't know where you're coming from. So it's really, really good to know that there's a person like Dom and he's doing the same kind of things that we're doing here on the channel. We're looking at K-pop and music and basically not just that, but the entire industry as a whole, even looking at it, some of the fandoms and how the fandoms react as well as some of the other reactors. Because, if you get into this game, you find out very, very quickly that things can go left with one little thing said that people don't understand. They attack you. It's quite interesting. Excuse me. It's quite interesting because I've had my bout, and Lord knows that the things that I've been accused of in the comments are absolutely not me. That's not who I am, and I don't have grandchildren. I wish I did, man. I don't have daughters. I have two grown boys. So, yeah, there's a lot of creative things online about me personally, and it's just amazing. So, in any event, this is a long walk. It shouldn't have been this long. Let me get to it. Let me introduce my special guest. This is Dom. Now, Dom, you come from the box. I think it's the box. It's called the box, a podcast, but also it says Ame Noir or something like that. The podcast. So, which one is it actually?
Ame Noir.
Say that again.
Ame Noir.
Ah, okay. Very, very cool.
It's
Well,
French.
Dom,
It's a French name. It's a French name.
absolutely. Absolutely it is. I'm just horrible at reading French and even trying to speak it or read it. So, Dom, man, thank you for coming to the Frankie Biggz show. Just give an introduction to who you are, buddy.
Oh man, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
First, let me say this. You're not the only one who mispronounces names. I get names wrong all the time, even in my reactions. I I gotta go back and correct myself 10, 15 times.
Yeah.
But I'm my name's Dominique Keller. I'm from Port Arthur, Texas. I'm only been in a reacting game probably 6 months, a little under 6 months. I started off with the Box Podcast. It was a podcast that we were just gonna talk about international music. And we're going to talk about sports and hip hop and a bunch of other different things. And I played basketball at the University of Illinois for 4 years from 2006 to 2010. And, I played overseas from 2010 to 2020. I retired the year after the pandemic. I moved to China with my girlfriend. I've been out here ever since. I'm in a place called Foshan. It's like 15 minutes from Guangzhou. I used to live in Guangzhou. It's the third biggest city in China. It's on the border of Hong Kong, Macau. So, this how I got into this whole reacting thing was it was kind of crazy. We spoke about this offline. It was just, I didn't really get a chance to go in depth about it, but it's kind of just like, it's one of those things to where like, it just happened. We were just going to record a podcast and, just see how it goes. And then we realized quickly, there's no manual to this. And I'm sure you can attest to this as well. When you started off, it was probably just something for fun and it happened. And it was just like,
Right.
The mics wasn't right. And then the cameras wasn't right. Then we start paying for professional cameras and professional editors. And it was just a lot of time and a lot of money wasted, a lot of counting on people that didn't hold up their end of the bargains. And before you know it, I had to pause it. I had to pause it because we was wasting so much money and so much time. I was like, hold on, let's just do this. We experienced this for like a month. We tried like 3 episodes. Let's just do this. Let's just pause it for a couple of months, plan this out, learn from other people, and then move on. And we kind of paused it from, I think we started in April, and then we paused it till about June. And then we waited all the way to January until we looked up the stuff and we figured it out. And before you know it, right before we was about to launch our first podcast episode, like with the new season of what we were doing, I just saw people reacting and stuff. And I was like, saying to myself, man, look, instead of counting on everybody to show up every day, why don't I just do 2 things? Why don't I just do a podcast and just react to something? And the very first video I ever reacted to, and this is something that even subscribers on my channel don't even know. A lot of people assume because the BTS content it took off so quickly that was one of my first videos. And it actually wasn't. The very first video we ever reacted to was XG. And it was really by accident because I didn't know anything about XG. My mom was a big fan of XG. And she was like, you should listen to this song. And I was like, me being a Black American hip hop, I'm like, what? Japanese girl rapping, sing? I'm like, stop it. Like, that's not what's like, well, just give it a chance and then tell me if you like it. And I think the very first song I heard it wasn't Woke Up. Oh, it was Left Right. That was the first song I heard. And it was so good. I was like, you know what? I'm going to react to something different. But I was like, I love that song so much. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then I saw the video and they reminded me of TLC so much. I was like, yo, they have groups like this over here? Like, they got stuff like this over here? And she was like, this is a new group. This isn't even the ones that's established. So then I reacted to Woke Up in Holland, and I thought that story was fitting for your introduction because the very first video, you learn quick that this community, the people are very, very serious and they will get on you immediately. And it was my first video I had posted in video. So I made the mistake of not finishing the video because I wasn't familiar with copyright rules. I wasn't familiar with talking through video.
That hurts.
I was like, yo, I don't know anything about this. So I'll play 30 seconds here, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds here, and then I'll just stop because I didn't want to get in trouble. So I did it to Woke Up in Holland. So they were like, oh, you didn't finish the video? What are you doing? You're an idiot. The comments just went crazy. But what I saw from that was, I was like, yo, I only have like 120 subscribers. And those are my friends. How did I get 3,500 views from a mistake in like 5 hours? So I was like, okay, so let me read the comments and actually see what they're talking about. Because me playing basketball for so long, I realized that you can handle this 2 ways. You can just go in on people and get into a spat with a bunch of people you don't know, or you can actually see what they're talking about. And when you actually read the comments, I was like, I responded back to a couple and I was like, yo, I didn't know about the copyright rules. They was like, you're fine with this type of music, but you have to let the video play all the way through or at least finish it. And I was like, okay, cool. So it was just a bunch of comments. It was like they were on me. I'm talking about they were on me tough. And I never deleted the video. I don't really delete videos from the channel. I don't delete negative comments. The only time I'll delete a comment on any video is if I feel like someone's trying to provoke someone else. But me personally, I just believe in free speech. You have the ability, if I'm asking you to come to my channel and I'm asking you to watch it, you got the ability to say what you want to say. If you want to say I'm not a good reactor, or you want to say I made a mistake, that's your right as a fan. But what you're not going to do is come to the comments and agitate other people, because I've had to do, we'll talk about that later, but it's some people that like to agitate BTS fans, people like to agitate FG fans, and I had to learn about all of this really quickly. So not to bore you with the details, but long story short, the video got like, I want to say close to 10,000 views the first day. Wow, and then I did another.
Good for you.
It was crazy. And then I did another XG video 2 days later, and that got like 5,000 or 6,000 views the first day. And I was like, okay, cool. And then that's when I got another suggestion. They was my girl was like, "Yo, you should try to do BTS." And I'm like, over the years, I've heard that name. I've heard it when I was in college. I heard the name. I just hear it, but I just associate it with a boy band, and I didn't know what
Right.
it was or what was going on. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll just do a beat. It wasn't like no one convinced me. She didn't really tell me how big they were. She just was like, you should just react to BTS. So me and my boy AJ was like, okay, cool. We did XG. It can't hurt. I didn't know anything about them. And we did
Right.
one song. And from that point on, I saw the reactions, the comments. I was like, okay. The music was so, first it was the music. The music was so good. I was like, whoa, I was kind of shocked, just like XG. But when I saw the wave of people that really, really liked it, man, we decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just react for a little while. And that's how I got into reacting.
That's amazing, man. I mean, it's kind of like me, it was for me, I was at a point, because we were going through the pandemic and that whole pandemic, those 2 years were the weirdest things in my life. Those were the weirdest moments. And I, it took me when we started coming out of the pandemic that I actually started to get a little depressed and I needed, you know what I mean? Excuse me. I'm just getting off being sick. So sorry for clearing my throat so
Oh,
much. These
all good.
allergies, even when you're at the tail end of healing up, they seem to jump on you. So the thing was that my first reaction was to a group from Scotland, I believe, or Ireland, and it was a bunch of kids, and they were rapping to drum and beat, and I don't know what it was, man. Like that morning, I had seen like a 15-second clip of them, and then I decided, I was gonna to do it later on. And then I put out a couple other reactions, and that did really well. It got like thousands like right away. I was like, wow, but I hadn't told my wife nothing because I didn't know if that was gonna be the direction. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know. I was just doing it to do it. You know what I mean? And I had already at that moment thought about doing Twitch and going live and DJing live and stuff like that, or taking my camera set with me when if I DJ'd a festival or a club or something, kind of doing it like that. But I don't know why, man. Like God to me had his own like version of what I was supposed to be doing. So in the beginning I was kind of like bumping heads or bumping, like what should I do? And much to you, like you, somebody had suggested to my wife, tell Frankie to do BTS. And it was crazy because I used to live in San Antonio, Texas. And there was two things that I knew back then. Now keep in mind, I'm not thinking. This is how old I am. I'm thinking back when I was in San Antonio, which would have been about 90, 94, 95, 96 in that era, right? In those 3 years, right? There was a guy whose name was BT. And I'm sure this information is wrong. And he owned a strip club in San Antonio called BT's. All I knew was that there was an association with this person or this group named BT and that strip club. And I just knew that they were putting out music that I hadn't heard. And I had always heard about BT when I was in Texas. So when she said, I want you to take a look at this, my dyslexic ass just read BT. I didn't see an S. And I saw, different, Korean symbols and shit. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm learning something new. This cat was from Texas, but maybe he's Korean or Japanese or something. Like, I'm just telling myself this story because I'm trying to familiarize myself with this because I don't know what I thought. Like, maybe I should know this. So I introduced Jimin as Jimin because I didn't know how the hell he was saying his name. So I said Jimin from BT. And yo, they lit me. They lit me the F up, man. And it was a good thing. It was a good experience. And it led to other F ups that I once did it. I did a reaction where I called V saying that he was being bitchy, and they took that and misconstrued it that I called him a bitch, and that's what really blew my channel up. Was because then I got clipped from all these different sources and everything. So that's my little story of how this all started. So much to you, like it wasn't something that we both planned on doing. So my next question to you is, and we're going to go to this. So there are two things that I want to weave together, two subjects, two questions for you that I think you can answer in just one deal. Have you experienced racism in what you're doing? And is it coming primarily from the United States, do you find, or do you find that it's coming from uh, a certain group of people, whether it's Korean or European or, you know what I mean, Northern European, or do you find it in the reactors and not really representing, a different country or set like that? If you do indeed encounter it.
And you know what? That's such a good question, because you would hear a question like that, and most people would assume, because of the story we just told, that of course they encountered it. But the funny part about that is, I can honestly say I've encountered zero racism so far, probably because of the way I react, with any Asian artist or their fan base. But this is the key. It's only been from the people in America who don't like the fact that I'm doing K-pop and other genres. You see, they feel as though, and I've said this on my channel before, I see the comments on my Instagram and I see what people post and what people say, and you would think that it would be more of either the Koreans or the Japanese or the Chinese. You would think that they would have a problem with it, but they actually like it. It's more of, I would say, like the people from the African American community who feel like, why are you doing this? Or why aren't you doing rap? Or why aren't you doing R&B? And my whole thing is, I'm a fan of music. You see what's in my background. Everybody can clearly see that I love Drake. I love Kendrick. I love Lil Wayne. I love Tupac. I love Biggie. I'm just a fan of hip hop. I'm a fan of R&B. I love Michael Jackson. He's my favorite artist of all time.
Absolutely.
I love pop. I love Justin Timberlake. I love Britney Spears. I love Christina Aguilera. I love them all. I love Justin Bieber. I like a lot of different things, but let's be honest about something. If someone's only going to value your opinion, one, if they know you, or two, if they care about what your opinion about a subject is. I'll give you an example about that. If I'm a basketball player and everyone knows that I play basketball, yeah, they'll listen to my opinion about basketball. But if I start posting stuff online, okay, there's a million people doing that. But if I'm a basketball player and then I discover cricket and I enjoy cricket, and they're like, yo, Black people don't even play cricket like that. He likes it. They're going to be interested to be like, oh, well, what do you know about cricket? What do you like about it? So they're going to be more curious. So for me, it's obvious that not too many Black people listen to K-pop. Not too many Black people listen to this genre of music on this side of the world. There's a big population that do, but this is no research. This is just me guessing. If I asked 10 of my friends about BTS, I asked them, have y'all ever heard of them? These are all Black people. Have you ever heard of them? Yeah, I heard of, like half of them said they heard of them. Do you know any of their songs? No. Do you listen to any K-pop? No. So I think that's why creators like ourselves who color is good for us to be in this space and have a real, because I don't really want to go into this, right? But we've spoken about this, and I've told anyone who listens, the one thing I can't stand as a person of color, I can't stand another person of color making us look like fools. It's one thing to have an opinion, it's one thing to try to get followers, but when you out there acting a fool, doing crazy stuff, jumping around, trying to play to the crowd, I just feel like with us being new in this, if we want to be taken seriously, we have to come with real opinions, and we have to treat them like, would you do that? If you heard a Beyonce song, would you be throwing water on yourself and jumping up and down. No, so give these guys the same respect, give yourself the same respect, and handle it professionally. So I try to bring
that happened.
Oh man, there's so many reactors out there.
And I mean that. So somebody was jumping around when they heard a Beyonce song and threw water on themselves. Is that real?
Not
really?
They're doing it to BTS.
Oh wow. Well, every formula is different, I guess. Dom,
every formula is different, man. So,
yeah, man.
But that's what actually your channel. To be honest with you, that's what attracted me to your channel. Like, not to cut you off, but the reason I was attracted to your channel, and I was looking at, I don't want to call them fools, but I was looking at a bunch of nonsense, and I'm like, yo, am I the only one doing this, like with real opinions and explaining about the vocal side of things and explaining about the production? I was like, yo, so is this what it is? And then I actually ran across your channel one day, and I was like, I saw you break down. It was an XG video. And then I saw you break down, I want to say it was, I don't know if it was Stray Kids. It might have been Stray Kids. It was another different K-pop group other than BTS. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so there are normal people out here doing this. There are people who take it seriously. So, that's my only thing about it with the racism side, because I just feel like it's more like our own. Now, when you talk about the other reactors, now that's a whole different ball game. Now, the other reactors, I don't believe it's loud racism. I believe it's quiet. If you know what I mean, it's more like just not acknowledging that we're here, pretending like we don't exist, taking credit for other people's work, not saying, you know what I'm talking about, like without having to say it. That's where I.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me answer that question on my end. I haven't experienced that like you. What I've experienced comes from idiots that are coming from the United States that are just racist. They're going to say anything to anybody. As it pertains to the industry, no. Now, other reactors. I guess this is why I had reached out to you, because I wanted this show to be kind of an example, because I know that when I put this out, there are going to be reactors who are going to study this. That's already proven that they do that to me, and I'm sure they do it to you as well. But they're going to go ahead and they're going to study everything, and I hope that they do. The truth is that I have seen those reactors you're talking about. I've never seen them go as far as throwing water on themselves. That's a bit much, but I don't doubt it either. I know that they'll do anything to try to gain what they gain. Has anybody in the United States that that it's into hip hop and they're into what you're doing, have you ever had anybody tell you that they think that you're kind of selling out by doing the reaction to K-pop and all of that? Have you been accused of that by any chance? And if so, how do you like react to something like that?
I'm gonna give you a really quick answer to that, because I have to. I feel the need. I have to touch on something you said before. I really believe that the reason the community is what it is, and I've only been around 6 months, but I have a good idea of why the community is what it is and why these YouTubers do what they do. And it took me a while to figure out. And the reason they do it, and again, this isn't to cast aspersions on anybody. It's just, I see what it is. People in this community throw sticks, they throw stones and hide their hands. And they act like they don't know what's going on. They accuse you of the same things that they're really doing behind closed doors. And it's like the main reason people, I'm gonna be honest, I just feel like, and that's why I reached out to you so quick after I saw the interview, is because I told you this. I knew watching that interview, they're gonna disregard every good thing that he said in his interview, and they're gonna hold on to that. And it's gonna be a lot of jealousy, because see, I didn't really know about, you were the first person I ever saw, and I'm pretty sure it was people way before you, but you were the first person that I saw with my own eyes react to American Hustle Life. And I really wasn't familiar with that show. And then when
Right.
I got familiar with it, I got familiar with it the day before I saw your interview because I saw you premiere it and said it was coming soon. So I was just like, what's American Hustle Life? So I went and watched the first episode, half of it, and I was like, oh, this is what this is. So then I read some of
Yeah.
the comments and I said, oh, okay, now all of this makes sense. And I have to say that I really believe the reason you got the reaction you got from certain people is because they were jealous. Because you have to understand, in this BTS reacting community, in this, not even just K-pop, in just the BTS reaction community, that interview might seem to people like it was nothing. No, that was something because that's something that they all wanted to do. They all had a gripe with American Hustle Life being part of the army, and they wanted to ask certain questions, and they never got the answers to. But by you just popping on the scene in their mind, and you able to get Nate, that really rubbed them the wrong way because a lot of people were like, oh, I would have asked this, or I would have asked that, or why didn't he say this? Because they don't have access to people like we have access to on that side. Because
Right.
I'm just being honest, even the K-pop community wouldn't talk to half of these reactors. Like all the reactors that make guides and do all of this stuff, I'm just being honest. Because I'm a fan of them. I appreciate their work. But let's just be honest for a second. No one's talking to them. The K-pop community, like those artists, the people that work with them, they're not talking to them. The American side, they're not talking to them because most of their channels are more fan pages than actual reactions, if that makes sense.
Right.
You can make a million guides, you can make a million reactions, but if you don't give an honest assessment and say what you don't like, no one's going to take you seriously. And I just think people took your interview seriously, and it just rubbed a few people the wrong way. But us being men of color, that's why I reached out to you and was like, no, we're not gonna allow that to happen. But to answer your next question, but to answer your next question, yes, and that's what I was talking about. A lot of people, like the thing is, I come from Texas. We're about 45 minutes from Houston, Port Arthur. So we got a rich history of music, and we just love hip hop where we're from. So when people see me as someone who been listening to hip hop my whole life, R&B my whole life, and then they come out and see me listening to BTS and Stray Kids and Dimash and all of these other characters, they're just like, what are you doing? Like we should be, and it's like, I just think it's a short-sighted way to think. It's just like music. You're a producer, you're a DJ, you know this. If you went for the same sound every time you created a song or every time you put on a show, eventually people are going to get tired of it. They're going to get tired of hearing the same things over and over. You have to have some element of creativity in what you're doing. So I feel like for us, we'll never stop talking about hip hop. We'll never stop talking about R&B. We'll never stop talking about the greats. But to get our voice out there, we need to spread to other genres. So I just feel like, I've been called that a couple of times, friends playing around, but I'm going to be honest. I played basketball for college. Like my coach called me everything but God's child. I ran for hours. I was the B word, the F word. And you learn to deal with that playing professional sports. Coaches are going to curse you out. They're going to test you. They're going to push you to the limit. So a few people saying that I'm a sellout or I shouldn't be doing this, honestly, it's just like water rolling off my neck. You know what I'm saying? So I've heard it, but I don't take anything by it. I don't really respect their opinions enough for it to hurt my feelings. And even if I do respect you and you say it, it's just your opinion. I understand. But I've had success doing this. I've watched other people have success doing this, and I'm going to continue to do what I feel is right.
Yeah, I mean, and same here too. People have, it's not so much that they have the balls to tell it to me like you're selling out. They're just like, so the K-pop industry, huh? That's kind of weird. And that's a loaded, that's a loaded thing to say, and I get it. But I just say, well, look, man, truth is that I like all kinds of music. I love everything. So, and it just happens to be at this point in time in music, K-pop seems to be kicking ass because somewhere along the line, there's just so much bullshit being put out in the United States right now in the American market that it's just horrible. And then the good stuff that is really good and is actually in the top Billboard charts and everything, okay, great. That's payola working, because then when you look at what kind of numbers those songs are actually doing, it's not really all that good. And some of them are really, really good songs. It just seems like people really like shitty production and shitty music. But then again, maybe it's just my age. You know what I mean? I might be one of those old people that's like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? You young people have shitty music. I mean, it's very possible. But being that I'm a record producer and I listen to everything, I try to have an open mind. Okay. Now, the next question that I have for you. Now, you have been doing this for, you said 6 months, right?
January the 8th, since January the 8th.
Okay. Have you gone out in public? Have you been recognized yet?
Thing is, actually, no, only because this is the thing. When you, I didn't really know you can see where all your subscribers are located. And most of the people who watch my videos aren't in China. Really, none of them. Most of the people who watch my videos are in the United States, Japan, and South American countries. So the thing is, I'm not gonna say they hit me out in public, but they will like my Instagram up. I have 2 pages. I got a page for the podcast. I got my own personal page. They will blow my inbox up with hundreds of messages telling me what to react to because they feel like, oh, we're commenting and you don't see it. And I can always tell people, I reply to every comment I can. It's hundreds of comments, and I post a lot of videos, so it's impossible to respond to everybody. But if you post your comment enough, I will see it, or my team will see it, and then I'll get back to you. But when they feel like their voice isn't being heard, they go straight to their Instagram. They go to their Instagram and light it up. So, but
I've got a couple of those, yeah.
I like it like that. I don't know, man. Like, I guess playing for the University of Illinois, I saw in overseas basketball, I saw what real fame is. And it's like, it's not what people think, man. Like when I was in college, I couldn't leave campus. Like I couldn't go to the mall. We would get bombarded with thousands of people. Like when I played professionally overseas, when I was in Mexico and other places, anywhere you go is crowds of people everywhere. Even when I was here in China, you go somewhere, you go to a game, it's 1,000 people want to take pictures and autographs after. You go to the malls, people stop, random people want to take pictures. It's cool, but I'm going to be real. I like to live a normal life, man. I know a lot of people say that, but man, I really enjoy normality, man. I don't really want a bunch of people recognizing me. I don't want a bunch of people. Now, of course, if you want to take a picture, I'll take a picture with you, no problem. But I would love just to go out in public and just do things and not be recognized by anybody. I think that's the best form of solitude. So no, man, I'm happy to say from the reaction side, no. But I do know if I was in some of these countries, maybe so, because based on the messages I get, I think so.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I've been recognized a lot before out in public, but never to the fan. You know what I mean? Like, not too many times that people say, "Hey, you're Frankie Biggz. Can I take a picture with you?" You know what I mean? It's always been, "Hey, man, I know you, aren't you?" You know what I mean? But it's always been for something that I did, and it was normally in a setting that was more like music related, where people would know me because I'm in a soup bowl of my peers. You know what I mean? So, but like out in the wild, not too much. It's happened, but not very much. But as far as the reaction for me, I've heard people when we went to TXT, when we went to go there, we were in line with some people, and I saw some people that were looking at me extra like, who's this cat? You know what I mean? And I think a couple girls, because I have a big tattoo of a Detroit symbol on my neck in the back of my head here. So, you know, when you're standing behind me, you can't help but see my bald head and this big Detroit D. And I think that they kind of recognized that. So they were saying in Spanish, they were saying, I've recognized this guy on YouTube. You know what I mean? But I think they were trying to debate on whether to get my attention or do something. And then by that time, the line started moving. And that's it. That's my only encounter that I've ever had, anything like that. But just wondering if you've encountered that. All right, next question. I've got like 3 more questions for you.
I really believe that now, if I went to one of those concerts that you're talking about, like
Yeah.
I wasn't able to go to the XG concert because some things came up, but I really believe now, if I probably went to like an XG concert or a BTS concert or maybe we'll see.
Yeah. I think so too. Like I agree with you on that. My wife and we've asked each other that question, like, what do you think? And I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think that if I was going to a BTS concert, fucking definitely. You know what I mean? Because the Spanish army knows me here. Spanish army knows me. So I think definitely. XG possibly because I've done a few remixes. So and they did all right. You know what I mean? So they've hit a couple playlists and they've done all right. And maybe with XG. And I love XG. Real quick, who's your favorite in XG? Can you say it without your girl
Coconut.
kicking your ass?
Coconut. Coconut. Probably coconut. See, it was two people reacting on this channel. My boy AJ, before he went home, he had to take care of some business, but he
Yeah.
loves Jurin. And me, I love the hip hop side of it. Like the way she rap, the way Coconut raps, the way her style, the way she dresses, that's more of my speed. And he, for some
Yeah.
reason, just loves Jurin. Everything is Jurin with him. So yeah, but her favorite one's Coconut too, so we're good.
Kokuna. Yeah, that's my girl. I think that's a lot of people's favorite is her. She's so damn cute. You know what I mean? With the hair, the buzzed hair and everything. Like she's
You're
so I think
mistaken then, Frankie.
no, who am I thinking? That's not Harvey.
Yeah, they're talking about the bold girl. So it's definitely not anybody with hair.
What do you Kokuna, right?
Right.
The girl with
Kokona's
Yeah,
the
buzzed
she,
one
hair.
without hair.
Right, that's what I said. I think she's cute because she doesn't have hair.
But you said something like brush hair. I'm like, she ain't
No,
got
no,
no
Bush
hair.
hair.
no. Yeah, no, no, I'm sorry. And they may have. I don't know. I don't think I
I
did
mean,
though. I mean,
she had hair before, but not when
yeah,
you
I know.
have
When I
met
was going to
her.
refer to that, when she had hair, yeah, she's very cute. But I think that the best move was when she shaved it for the video, and she kept it that way.
Yeah.
I think that's what really. I don't know why. In my opinion, I believe that that moment was the marbleization of XG, was the fact that she did that. It just worked for some reason. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. My other favorite is Harvey, man. Harvey puts it down. She's got this innocent bad girl about her. That's the cool thing about her is like she can play both parts so well. You know what I mean? And being able to reinvent yourself so effortlessly in this industry is the key. And I think Harvey is really good. So is Kokuna. Not taken away from any of the other
She's my
girls,
second
just that
favorite.
those two really stick out.
She's my
What's
second
that?
favorite. She sounds like she from Atlanta. She has that Atlanta sound to me, the way she raps. Like,
And she's
well,
got her movements. Her movements tell me that she's been around us. Let me just say that. I can
for
tell.
sure, for sure, for sure,
She's been
for
around
sure.
us. So look, man, I'll finish up the other questions, but I wanted to ask you this question and then we'll get to the video that I wanted to watch with you was when was your I want to put this in the right words. So like when was your coming to Jesus moment with BTS? Like when did you know like God damn it, these guys they got me. They got me right here. When was your coming to Jesus moment with them?
You see, when I heard Dynamite, and when I
Right.
heard Dynamite, that's how they hooked me in. They was like, okay, look, this is pretty good. But I must say, honestly, if I had to pick a coming to Jesus moment, I was just like, you know what, they got it. Because at first you could just be like, yo, they got a couple good songs. They here, they there. But it was this one song in particular that I heard it and I replayed it 4 times and I'm like, did I just hear what I think I just heard? And I really believe I think it was actually, oh no, you know what it was? I heard, because I didn't really have a great introduction. We were just doing random songs. So we were
Right.
doing like dance practices and we were doing like mic drop and stuff like that.
Right.
My coming to Jesus moment was when I heard Jimin Like Crazy and Jungkook standing next to you with Usher. When I heard that and I saw that, I was like, no, because I heard it at the beginning before I even got deep into their catalog. It was probably like the 5th or 6th video I did. At first, I was like,
Right.
I like these guys. They pretty solid. We getting some good numbers. I like the music. We'll keep doing them. But when I don't know how those two songs came into one video, but when they put like, I was like, at first I was like, is that Usher? There's no way that's Usher. And then I
was
seen
surprised too, bro.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, but then I heard the song. I was like, yo, was that Jungkook singing by himself? And I was like, yo, that was crazy. And then when I heard Jimin like crazy, I was like, hey, okay, we're gonna have to reevaluate this whole thing because these guys are different. And that's what made me start going into all the different solo stuff and going back and check everything. And I was just like, oh, but that was probably my coming to Jesus moment then. But my coming to they're one of the best artists of this generation moment. I'm gonna have to say, when I realized as a group, the artistry, it really wasn't that long ago. It was probably like a month or two ago when I realized everything they were doing within their videos, everything they're doing within their songs, it was all correlating to different content that they were putting out. See, I knew about like the Spring Day and stuff like that, but when I realized they had a whole cartoon series, the BTS universe, and they were putting Easter eggs within every video, even the solo videos, they were putting Easter eggs everywhere. And I was like, yo, and when I seen the video I was like, okay, these guys are different. These guys are really different. And like you said, that's what's missing in the States, to be honest with you, because let's be honest, it's not that really good of music that's just been coming out lately. It's been a lot of, it's been a lot of trash. And unfortunately for them, you know, they get punished because they're from Korea. I truly believe they should have 15 number ones based on the music that's come out. Like, a lot of these albums should have been number one, and they cap them at number two. Like, they capped Jungkook at number two, that Golden album. I just reviewed it. They capped it at number two. I think RM album debuted at number two. Those albums should have easily went number one. But you know how they get away with it? They get away with it. They can't hide the sales. They can't hide the streams. So what's the only way they can get you? Radio play. So they don't even play it on the radio. Like, those guys will get like 15 plays in the whole country and still be number two, still be number three. And I'm just like, man, it's the reason exactly why Luther is still number one for 12 weeks. Don't get me wrong. It's a great song with Kendrick, but do I think it's the best hip hop song or art collab of all time? No, I think it's a cool song, but it's at number one 12 weeks because even though Nokia streamed more and sold more, you know, they got that thing with Universal going, and what they're doing, no radio play, no radio play, no radio
why do
play.
you think that is, though? Why do you think there's no radio play?
For who? BTS?
Yeah.
Oh, easily. We don't make any money off their music. They're from they're not rubbing elbows with the powers that be. So we're not going to allow you to be over there creating better music than the people we make money off of. And then you go your album's already debuting at number one. You can't do anything about the albums debuting as a unit, but we can mess with you solo wise. And while you already got 5 or 6 number ones, we can't let you have 10, 12 number ones and break all our artists' record when we're not getting paid off that. No, it's not going to happen.
Right. It's payola. It's payola. They don't, because, and the big man has said it himself, Hitman Bang. He has said it himself that they're not playing that game. They're not coming to the United States and playing with the Americans that way. We're not paying for radio. Either people like it or they don't like it. It's either an honest shot or not, but we're not going to be paying for payola. And because they won't play that game is exactly what you said, is because and radio, they don't care. You know what I mean? Radio is like, hey man, you know, we're still the format. You're fucking dying. Radio is dying. I used to work in radio. It was dying back then. You know what I mean? This is right in 2001, 2002. I mean, they were dying back then, and now they, you know, it is what it is. It's radio has reduced itself to what it was when it first started, which was just commercials. The music wasn't at the center point of any radio station back when they first started. That was filler. It was all the ads. So I mean, it's gone back to that. But I agree with you, absolutely, and it is absolutely that.
Why do you need radio? Radio has been eliminated. I said, why would you need radio at this point?
You don't.
They don't
You don't,
understand
but they'll make you
with
believe it.
streaming is done. You said what?
Right. That I mean, Spotify would be the next medium as far as radio and YouTube, and so I mean, there really doesn't. In my opinion, I'm not taking anything away from radio and what it did. It's just that radio is the reason why there were so many sharks. You know what I mean? Like that was the chum that brought all the sharks from the industry in was radio. And so it's been like that. It'll always be that way. It's just the fusion between commercialism and creativity. They know they can make money on it. Thus they sell ads to take up the space in a regular day part for radio. And BTS wasn't gonna play that fucking game. Plain simple. Why should we play that game? But if you don't play that game, well then the consequences are you don't get Grammys either. You know what I'm saying? So because they work in tandem. You know what I mean? Certain groups, RIAA, NARIS and radio, Clear Channel, all those people, they all scratching each other backs all the time. You know what I mean? They're all giving each other hand jobs one way or another. And if you break that circle jerk, then you're not part of the good old boys network. You know what I mean? We're not gonna. It isn't the way it is. But with BTS, they proved that the army, their fandom, had a lot to say. They forgot. People in radio forgot what drives that. They forget that it is about the fans. Just kind of like the way the government forgets that it's we the people who run their jobs. We're the ones paying them. We're the ones. They're our public servants. And I'm not calling radio people public servants, but the point is that it's the public that drives that. And so I think you're right. There is a plan. There was a very active plan. You don't play the rules, then we don't have to do anything for you. And I think they're starting to prove now that they're a force to be reckoned with. So with that said, I'd like to tell you when my coming to Jesus moment was. It's not as elaborate as yours. My bad. Okay. It's not as cool as yours, but I'll make it like this. It was when I saw them debut, and this was crazy because it was the first time I ever saw them do Dynamite when they did their debut. And that first debut, their very first debut, they opened it up with Dynamite.
Frankie.
What is it?
Not Dynamite.
What is it? Tell me.
No More Dream. Dynamite
The
is
one where they do
2020.
What is it?
Dynamite is 2020.
Okay, Irene. I'm trying to name the song where they do
No More Dream.
No More Dream. Okay. So they debuted with this tune. And, knowing that before they got on stage, they were so nervous, bro. And this was like a big, big moment. And they're in front of other K-pop groups, right? That all these other labels had put together. So they were walking in there as the underdogs, for real, for real. And they get up there and they debuted and they did this move. And it was where they all kind of got around. And was it Jimin, Irene?
Yeah.
They all get around Jimin, and he does this walk, and he walks sideways, and he walks on him all the way around.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, dude! When I saw that, I lost. That was it. That was it. When I seen that, and then they did another move where they kind of came together and they made themselves look like a gun, and V jumps up on top and he starts doing this and he's like shooting. It's crazy. Like the choreography that I saw on that debut, man, blew me away. And why do I say that? Because for a while I was a professor at a performance arts college, right? And when I used to go to my classroom, I had to go through the corridor that had all of the dance department and all of that. And I knew showing up there, I would show up there I'd get there at 7:30. These girls were already in the studios by 6 a.m. And they didn't leave that school. They danced all day in different styles, man. Ballet, fucking echo dancing, you name it. They wouldn't leave that school until I was leaving. And that was usually around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And that's how long these girls dance. So when I saw that move, I knew what it took to do that, man. I've seen those teachers at the IAB here in Barcelona, where I used to work. I've seen those choreographers work with these girls, and the amount of pressure, the amount of concentration to pull that off is immense. And to level that on 7 dudes was the other thing that was incredible, and they pulled it off. That was my moment that I knew. If I had been in that moment, Dom, I'm telling you, out of all the people, I would have probably said, those guys. Those are the guys. Like, green light anything these guys do, because that took skill. It took a lot of concentration. And to be able to pull that shit off amongst other competing groups who have their own choreographers, and sometimes the same choreographers, to be able to rise that high up in their first debut, that was my coming to Jesus. So I wanted to show that video. Have you seen that video?
I saw a clip of it. That's why I realized what you said. I saw a baby clip of it as a short, but they didn't show the whole thing. They just showed the part where he walked him a little bit for like 5 seconds.
I want to show you the whole. We got 20 minutes left, so I want to show you this whole video and get your reaction about it. So, Irene, you ready to roll it?
Sure.
Let's go.
Let me share my screen.
My wife keeps my shit straight, man. She's always having a.
Right. I get it. I get it.
Okay, so, and you haven't reacted to this one actually, Frankie, because this is the official music video for No
I
More
just
Dream.
saw the right. Go ahead. Let's go.
So this is No More Dream, the official music video. You guys can see it, right?
Yep.
I can see it. I can see it.
Let's go. This dude driving a whole bus. Look at that shit. The last 5 minutes are yours, sir. What would you like to say to my audience looking at a different reactor? Like, plug your show, tell me, ask questions, do whatever. The last 5 minutes is on you, sir.
Well, you guys, I'm a big fan of Frankie. He's someone that our channel's looked up to. We try to model some of the videos. He's giving me advice on different guys to react. SB19, that's another good group. You recommended them. Dimash, I told my girl, both of those guys blew me away. I couldn't believe it. SB19 was incredible. Dimash, he really, we talked on the phone not too long ago. When you recommended those two, I was like, okay, I'm gonna check them out. But I had no idea what I was stepping into when I heard his vocals, and I didn't know what SB19, because they got a similar story to BTS, not quite the same, but a very similar story. So I want to thank you for that. You guys, the people on your channel, they're kind of like the people on my channel. Like, you're a straight shooter, I'm a straight shooter. We don't feed into the crowd. I give you an honest reaction. I know you give honest reaction, and they need more people like us in the community. I feel as though, with what's going on right now, it's a war. Just like you said it with the radio. I'm going to spend 30 seconds talking about the radio. I know you worked in that industry and you still have friends in the industry, but I don't. And I'm going to say it like this.
Not too many.
Radio's dead. And I'm glad it's dead. I'm going to be honest with you. I used to be a fan of radio. But when you start taking money, when you start making people pay for plays, when you start affecting who goes number one, I truly believe this with all my heart. I believe that if you work for a radio station, you are a public servant, because it's not about what the radio wants. Your whole goal is to get people to listen and play what the public wants. And when you start taking money, and when you stop giving people plays based on how much money you can make, I think that's the biggest load of crap ever. And I'm glad radio's dead. I just hope that Billboard steps it up. They already stepped it up a notch by getting rid of most of the bots. You see, it was a lot of people who were high on the charts, and now they're gone. And they're still there because of radio. But once Billboard eliminates radio play from it, I think we'll be in a better place. So that's my last little rant about that. And like I said, man, thanks for having me on. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. If you ever need something, just hit me up. You know, I want to have you on our channel too. Guys can follow us at Dom at Ame Noir TV. You can follow us on the Ame Noir TV channel. That's about it, man. Just thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I would just say this, man, just please keep doing what you're doing. Don't change. We've all had our spats with people. I love Army.
Yeah.
There was a time. There was a time. But they've done nothing but show me love, and you know what I'm saying? So just man, just
And
keep
that's
doing
not
what
the
you
real Army. That's the Harmy. So
the Army, yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
Harmy.
man,
That's
they changed, man. They changed everything for us, man. So we're grateful to all of them, man. So I appreciate it, man.
well, let me ask you, man, do you have any plans about, are you going to head back to the US at any point? Are you going to come to Spain? Are you going to go to Korea? Is there any future plans for you as far as your travels and stuff?
I'm definitely gonna go to the States sometime this year. I haven't been back in a couple of years. And then when
Mhm.
the other half of our channel, my boy AJ, he's been out there for 4 or 5 months, so he's coming back sometime next month. And I don't really think I have time right now, but there's a lot of stuff coming up in Hong Kong. There's a lot of stuff,
Mhm.
a lot of people coming this way. Uh, I want to start catching shows. I want to start moving around, and I do eventually want to get to Spain. I think we all need to link up, like you said, with the other guys from the audience. We
Yeah.
do need to stick together. We do need to create a space to where everyone can support everyone and react to everyone, and that way we can combat. I call them the phonies. We can combat the phonies and
Yeah.
let people make their own decisions and hear real content. So eventually
Yeah.
we're in contact. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, man, because Irene and I are really serious about possibly doing a conference for reactors here in Barcelona. I told you before we were for 11 years part of a really beautiful conference that was out here. We helped develop that conference in any way that we could at that point because the owner was really good at what he did as far as putting the conference together. But her and I had been there from day one, just helping out sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. So we got a really good education in seeing how all those things are put together. And I definitely want to do that. So for my people who are tuning in, this guy's a really straight shooter, man. Please, we'll have all his information down in the crotch bar below. You guys can get that info. Follow him on IG, Facebook, TikTok, any of the mediums. We'll have all your stuff there. And of course, YouTube. You know what I mean? I think that we're going to be doing some things where we can share some stuff too, because I may actually do a couple reaction videos to you reacting to some videos. You know what I mean? To try to bring that community together, because that's the only way that we could do it, is to help each other. Because I, the last thing I'll say, Dom, I don't know about you, but one of the things that's cringy for me is when I have seen other reactors and it's just like really fast paced, like, oh my God, oh shit. You know what I mean? They're just so like that stuff, because I already have PTSD. You know what I mean? So like when I see all that kind of, I'm like, what's happening, man? This is moving too quick. You know what I mean? And it's just really comes off disingenuous and unauthentic. You know what I mean? And so, but I don't give any hate to those people. It's just that they do it differently than what you and I do it. Which you and I are just kind of like straight shot. Like dig it, you don't. You know, we're not gonna kiss anybody's ass here for nothing. You know what I mean? We don't do
Right.
that. But anyways, guys, this is a guy that I would really we want to help each other out and help other people out. You were telling me about another channel. Could you go real quick and tell about that guy?
Oh, K-pop explain. I reacted to a couple of his videos. He doesn't
Okay.
really have a lot of followers, but he makes some really, really good content. I reacted to his every BTS album in 37 minutes, and I just did his every BTS solo album in 20 minutes. He's a really good at putting together videos, explaining stuff really quickly. He reminds me of these guys, DKTV. They're a big BTS channel that does that type of content. They got like
Okay.
700,000 subscribers. But he reminds me of them, and he puts together stuff so well. So give him a follow if you can. It's K-pop Explain
Yeah.
on YouTube.
I like Asian culture. What are they called? She's
Asian
called
culture
Asian.
and entertainment. Asian culture and
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah, I like her, man. She's pretty cool.
She's cool. She's cool. She's
Yeah.
cool.
She keeps everything like I'm just reporting the news, man. She doesn't veer off too much in the opinion part of things. I like how straight she is. I'm really digging some of these groups. So, or these channels. So, guys, we'll leave links down to the channels we've discussed, and go by them. Get subscribed to their channels and let them know that Frankie and Dom sent you. And yeah, man, let's help grow this community. Because I did get one negative comment, by the way, Dom. Somebody was saying people have already tried to unite these reaction group. It never worked. You're wasting your time and all this other shit. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's exactly why I'm going to try. When I'm told I can't do
Right.
something, that's when I do it. You know what I mean? I'm like, now I'm gonna do it. So, and I'm not that egotistical to the point where if I fail, I'm like blaming it on anybody else. If I fail, I fail, man. Take the L. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's how humans are supposed to be. So I just
Right.
go by, the Nipsey Hustle thing, man. You're supposed to get in trouble. You know what I mean? You're supposed to
Right.
ask questions. You're supposed to ask bad questions. It's how you grow. So
Right.
peace to my man Nipsey. Dude, thank you very much for coming out. Definitely like to do a part 2 with you sometime. Maybe we can discuss some hip hop. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Get into that. And yeah, that's all I got. You got anything else you want to say and add?
Nah, man, just thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And like you said, man, just if you get a chance, just follow. Just give us a chance. Hear us out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And that's fair. Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Very cool. And it's Festa. I don't know if you know that, but you know what Festa is, right? For BTS?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right, right. So this is when we're going to put this out. So happy Festa to everybody, to Army that's watching. All right, that's
Be
a
fair.
very important day. So I'm glad that we were able to do this, and I'm festive we can have you as our guest. This has been great. Peace and big warm hugs to your team, to your wife who puts it all together, like mine, and or your girlfriend,
Right.
wife, fiance. I'm sorry, what
Girlfriend, girlfriend,
girlfriend?
girl.
Okay. So well, good. And man, next time we'll do some more reactions. So, but thank you very much for coming out, Dom. You guys know what to do. Like that subscribe button up there on his channel, and let's help get this going. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, Dom, man.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Peace out, homie.